What I usually do is I'll go to the library or go to the bookstore. I'll look for things, books, ideas that have not been made into film. And if it's a good idea, I would contact the publisher or the publisher's agent to see if the rights were available for this project. And if they weren't, we would acquire the rights, and then we would get a screenplay written for it or create what's called a pitch deck. And that we would take out to market to get a buyer for in order to make it into a film.
Hey everybody, it's Matt from AiDIY. It's another awesome interview coming out. This is someone I've known back and forth for a while through other conversations I've had. This is Tobe Roberts. Mellow Delight is you know him through the community. He's done some collaborations with people like Professor Jacket or DAMP. I think some other people too that off the top of my head, and I won't just go guessing. I'm 99% sure, but that 1% leaves a little bit of a buffer. Thanks, Tobe, for joining. I appreciate you coming on. This is well and truly overdue. We have chats in the background, you, me, and Dom going on with Is It Radio? Or Is It video studios that we've tried to get stuff going with before. But now this is long overdue. I expect this to be a really good interview, and I'm excited to learn more about you and have the audience, the community, learn stuff from this so you can directly plug in.
Thanks for having me on again, Matt. I really appreciate it, and happy to answer questions. I'm kind of out of the water because I'm usually not like under the spotlight. I'm usually like in the shadows. I was telling the guys, the villains, that it's like I'm usually in the shadows, and I'm really, this is kind of not in my wheelhouse, but I'm ready.
No, dude. Well, you're a good dude, and you're a good guy to have a conversation with, in my experience. And yes, you're a little bit reserved and quiet, but like I like to have people that are a little bit out of their comfort zone on this podcast because that's how I started. I never really saw myself as being in the forefront, and I still struggle with that imposter syndrome myself from time to time. So the reason I like to have people like you on that aren't over the top and super quirky, entertaining, although that I'm not against having people like that, but the reason I like to have people like you that are just smart, plugged in, and have something to say, but aren't necessarily super confident in front of the camera is because that's the majority of this community that we have. People that haven't created, haven't been in front of the camera, haven't done things. I do my 5 featured artist segment every single week, and I've started like 6 months ago saying, give me an intro for those, and it could either be you in front of a camera or it could be you plugging in with AI tools. And the reason I force that is in some way I want people to get out of their comfort zones a little bit, because the more we push each other to get out of our comfort zones, which you do with some of your collaborations, the more the community, I just think it benefits the community and it benefits people individually themselves. Let me just ask you. I'll get you started because I like people to know who you are and why you're an authority figure in sort of areas. So you're not like I like I said, I like to feature and I like to discover people who don't have any sort of background in this. This is where AI sort of shines because it's an opportunity for people that have always dreamed of creating something that's inside them to figure out ways and get better and better as the technology gets better at creating that, publish it, and then have people, give direct feedback and enjoy it and all that. And like, I honestly think that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. But there's also people like you that have like a background in media and creative and have done like showcasing and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that. Give us an idea of your background, what you've done.
I started out in educational technology, believe it or not. So I've been a geek for a long time, just tinkering with things. And my dad.
Well, just quickly, what's educational technology, just so we know, because I don't know.
Educational technology is using technology in the classroom, getting teachers and students excited about technology and using it in lesson planning. So when I was in that field, I would basically find new tech, gadgets, devices, anything from drones to digital filmmaking, anything that was fun, and I can incorporate it with like math or incorporate it with social studies, but using tech. Robotics, I did that for a period of time. Just anything I found fun, and I would roll it out and tell the teachers like, "Hey, you want to use this robot for teaching physics or teaching about geography?" And then the teachers would utilize it, or I would teach the teachers to utilize it,
Yeah.
and they turnkey it to other teachers. So it's
What was the uptake of that? Was that pretty well received as teachers, or was there pushback in on
There
it?
was pushback, of course, from teachers who've been teaching for like 30, 40 years, and they just use
Yeah.
chalkboard. But then when we brought in a smart board and it's like, hey, you got to use this, but don't put chalk on the smart board. So it's
So I'm assuming that happened.
yeah, it happened
Yeah.
quite a bit. Or don't use a Sharpie on the smartboard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Fantastic.
so there was a learning curve, and then just getting teachers to utilize it was a lot of fun. And eventually, when they did get it, they were excited about it, and then the kids were excited about it. And the kids were, they were immediately tech savvy, and they just went
Mm.
with it. So anything fun, gadget wise that they wanted to use, they were on it. And I've been doing that for close to at that time for 10 years. And I worked in both New York City and New Jersey, just going from school to school, just teaching teachers and teaching kids how to use tech in the classroom. So I've always been a techie. Anything that was new and not tested, I would just go out and just start working on it and playing with it, and just seeing how I could be creative with it. Um, Other things I've been doing media wise, I'm an artist. Got that from my dad.
Yeah.
Traditional painter. I love photography. Just anything to express myself media wise. And then eventually I got into film. I went to film school, and
And that was going to be my question. So you've been formally trained in some of this
yeah, I
stuff.
went. Oh, for film, yes, I went to film school, and but at that particular time, we had the traditional filmmaking tools, the cameras, and then the sound and the clapper. But
Mm.
now with um, AI music, that was something that I always wanted to get into. Music. It was the only thing
Yeah.
I did not express myself with. I mean, I had a guitar, and I played it a bit, but that was basically it, but not a lot. And at that particular time also, I did have the Melody Light channel. This is prior
Yeah.
to AI music, and I only had like nature sounds. So I had
Yeah.
rain.
I haven't looked that far back, actually, to be honest. Like I've only seen since your original submission, which your original submission was fantastic, and they've only got better since then. I've seen you in a lot of competitions and all that since then as well.
I I just wanted to get myself out there to express. But
Mm.
when I first started the channel, I had 11 subscribers, and it was just ocean sounds and crickets and walking through the library, ambient sounds. And but when AI music came out, that just opened the door for just me expressing myself, and uh, writing down my ideas and writing lyrics, and just going through try to touch on almost every type of genre that I grew up on,
Mm.
and just expressing myself that way. So it was just like open the floodgates, and I just didn't stop from there. I just kept going.
Yeah. Well, let's explore that a little bit because there's so much to get through there. I think you're such an interesting dude. Like,
Thanks.
so you basically created. Were you creating lyrics up to that point, and you just didn't have a way to get the music out, or because I know like you do photography and film and all that stuff, but were you creating songs?
Before AI music came out, no, I was not writing songs, but I did have, I used to do poetry, and I wrote
Mm.
a couple of screenplays also. So the writing part, I was kind of versed in, but songwriting was like a whole new world. And I did know a few singers that did do songwriting, and I did actually a while back produce a video for a friend of mine in Japan who did have a song, but this is way back before anything happened with AI music. But I said, well, I
Yeah.
would like to try songwriting one day, and then I did, and then
Yeah.
then all of a sudden AI music came out, and then it's just like, well, time to get on the train and go.
yeah, it just opens doors, right?
Yeah,
I find that like the thing is like there's limitations, right? Like you can't even dream of doing that because the door's not open there. So like why would you imagine songwriting if you have no way to bring it to?
right.
But you said you sort of take have you taken your poems that you wrote in the past and put them to song at all?
No, and maybe I should.
No.
I should do
Maybe
that.
you should. I think maybe you should. Like we'll
It's a
see
good
what some of
idea.
your poems
I
are.
never thought of that.
I I know Christy Notley that I interviewed. She was my last interview. That she's really a poem writer, and I've had a few poetry writers that have had him in their back catalog for years and years and years, and this is the way they're publishing them. They're like, I've had all these books of my poems, and no one's ever looked at them before. I never had a way to sort of look. So maybe that could be a gateway for you, sort of.
Oh
So
yeah, it's
yeah,
great. It just opens up so many doors and so many means of expression. It's endless. It's a great thing.
yeah. So let's talk about you've been formally trained in media creation as far as like film and all this stuff. What is did you have a career in that? Was there something that you did that was like your job or in that area?
Yes, I'm currently working with in film and television development. So I'm part of a team, and we go out and find things to make into films. And I
Mm,
like that part of like looking for things because I can either go to bookstores or I can go to like Comic-Con and find
mm,
IP and other sources that would be great to make into film. And then I do a reading of it, and we're just part of the development team. It's myself and four other core members of the team. So I'm doing that currently right now. So between
yeah.
AI music and the music videos, and then looking for stuff to make into film and TV, I'm
So what do you mean? Like that's an interesting thing for me because I don't understand that world. Like that's like a cool creative thing that Hollywood people do that we could never have a window into. I don't understand what that means. So you go to a library. I understand Comic Cons. I just went to PAX on the weekend with my daughter.
okay.
That is, and when I call people nerd or whatever, like that's very endearing for me. Like I was at I was at PAX and there was a fire alarm there over in Melbourne, Australia. We took a flight down to Melbourne, Australia. There's a fire alarm, so all these people like thousands and thousands of people are walking out of Jeff's shed over there. And I was on the phone with my wife and my daughter's there. And I'm like, oh man, like it's a massive nerd exodus leaving this thing, right? And my daughters are cringing because there's all these nerds around. But I don't even think about it because I think of myself a little bit of a nerd. So I don't use the term in a bad way. But
Oh, I am too. I mean, over here we just had New York Comic Con, and I
yeah,
missed it because the tickets were sold out. But like 2 years ago, I was there. I just nerded out all the cosplay and all the comics, and then all the anime, and then the manga. It's just
yeah.
plethora of just pop culture. So
It is, man. Like if you don't mind, like I guess there's like nerd levels from like 1 to 10, and if you're at 4, but you appreciate that there's a whole bunch of tens around and it doesn't bother you, and you sort of like the diversity of it, you'll have a really good time at these places, right?
it's
So explain to like you said, like you go to libraries and Comic Cons for stuff to film. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, do you go there and just film a bunch of stuff, or you just get ideas from that? Like, what is that?
we what I usually do is I'll go to like the library or go to the bookstore, which I'm always in the bookstore anyway. Um, I'll look for things, books, ideas that have not been made into film yet.
Mm,
And if it's a good idea, I would contact the publisher or the publisher's agent to see if the rights were available for this project. And if they weren't, we would acquire the rights, and then we would get a screenplay written for it or create what's called a pitch deck, and that we would take out to market to get a buyer for in order to make it into a film. So it's a process. Find the idea, see if the rights are available. If nobody else is doing it, um,
mm,
get the rights to it, create a package for it. You can try to get a talent, get a screenplay written. The more things you have in the package, the better it is for the buyer, and then you get things sold that way. So and hopefully that the buyer says that, if they say that, oh, it's something that we're similar, that we're doing similar, then, you have to go somebody else. So it's a
Yeah.
roulette wheel. You take a chance, but if you're in love with the project, then, it carries you all the way from A to Z.
Then you just keep pushing on.
Mhm.
Let me see if I get this. See if I can be clear on this to make sure. So you literally go to the library and you just look through books and you see what stories are written, or maybe even like life stories of somebody, like maybe someone wrote a book about like a biography and they're an interesting person or whatever. So you literally go to the library to read books.
Go to the library, go to bookstores, again, Comic Cons or anywhere there is periodicals, and search for stuff.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people send me stuff, as an idea, and then I'll read through it. And I'll tell you, I'm a very slow reader, so it takes me a long time to
Mm-hmm.
get through stuff. I'm like inundated with stuff because I read so slow. So I have Audible, so I'm driving in the car and I'm listening to books as I'm driving. So if I get stuck in traffic for like eons, then it comes in handy. So it helps. So
Yeah. Well, Audible's one of the greatest
I love
tools
Audible.
that's come out.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. I get my
Yeah.
credits and I just, okay, what I'm going to choose this time, and I just push play. So, because after reading a while, and then, if I'm lucky to read like two pages a day, that's a miracle because
Yeah.
I'm so
That's
tired.
Yeah, no, I know. It gets like it depends on, I guess, the book. Like there's
Yeah.
books that I struggle through, and I sort of have a thing where I have to get through. I'm reading a book about Rome right now.
Oh,
Actually,
cool.
it's on
Oh,
audiobook.
really?
Super interesting, but sometimes the material, because you're hearing from a historian,
Mm.
sometimes can get a bit dry, but you have to get through it because it's super super interesting.
It,
You know.
it also depends on the narrator too, because I know sometimes some
Mm.
narrators can be very robotic, like, and then that's also important too, because if you have a good reader who's doing the narration, then it makes it interesting. But if you have somebody who's kind of droning, it kind of like it makes it hard to get through. So
Yeah. Well, I'll just say one more thing on Audible, and I want to drill down on the other stuff that you said because, like I said, I find what you're doing extremely interesting, and I'm hoping other people too, because I think what you're doing here could lead to other people's creativity if they take that same sort of approach, but they don't necessarily um, do it to sell off ideas to other people. They can take those ideas for themselves once they establish that those things are not copyright protected or whatever. So, but I just want to say I always recommend this book on Audible. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Be Useful. And
cool.
not only is it a great book, and there's a lot of key takeaways you can take for life, but he himself narrates it. So you don't just have, like if you were to read that book, you would read it in his
Yes,
voice anyway, right? But you can actually
that's
have
awesome.
Arnold Schwarzenegger reading his own book, and he reads it very well. So you get that takeaway as well. I don't think that there's no other audio book that I've had. Actually, there is one other one that's really good, but you'd have to be into it. It's called How to Be Perfect by Michael Secor. It's the dude that wrote The Good Place,
Mm.
and The Good Place was all about moral philosophy. And he's not a moral philosophy professor, but he found the topic to be extremely interesting, and all the research he did into making that program, into that TV show, which was absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite endings to any TV show ever was The Good Place. But he puts it in a very human way that people can understand. And instead of having to take 8 years of moral philosophy and go to university, you can listen to it on an audiobook. And actually, like Ted Danson and all the cast that were in The Good Place read little excerpts out of the book as part of the narrative. So we'll move on from Audible,
Cool.
but I
Love
like
it.
those are like two of my favorite Audible books ever. And I hope, and there you go. If you're into hearing that sort of stuff, have that takeaway if nothing else. But let me just get an idea. So I did a video ages ago about writing songs and how to get inspiration on writing songs. And it was like, at the time, it was one of my best watched videos. So I think people like to go, how do you even get started in that stuff? And you have like a really unique way, but you sort of push those ideas onto other people. Um, could people go to libraries and Comic Cons, and instead of saying like going to a producer and saying, do you want to make this into a movie? Get really cool inspiration for their own stuff.
I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, like for example, you go to a library or a bookstore, even the title could help trigger something inspirational for a song, just the title, or even the book cover could even be an inspiration too. Something visual that you can see, and then you can automatically hear lyrics or see, see visions, see the images for what you plan to create. So a lot of things could be inspiration too. If you head to the bookstore or head to the library, or so it's a good resource to do. But I would
Yeah.
recommend it.
I'd recommend it too. And I think if you are in any sort of environment and you have intent and paying attention and you're present, um, and you're going to have your own songwriting skill in the way that you view the world too. So I might see a book about being on the edge of the universe for the first time, and it may spark something in my brain. Like I think very tongue in cheek when I see, and my stories come in my head, that are like completely off the wall. Like, what if that guy in that spacesuit was something something, and like completely bullshit stuff that goes through my head, right? And other people, and there's definitely a lot of people that are very literal, and they would take could see that exact same book and just go in a completely different way. So, like, as it meant to sci-fi, they could go in a different direction of sci-fi or something like that. Um, you know, what would you have to say about that? Like, you've been around a lot I know you've been around a lot of creatives, and I know you're collaborating with people, specifically with that villains thing.
Oh yeah.
So you well, actually explain that project.
Oh, well, Villains was a project that I started with Professor Jacket. And initially, and I'm sure
Mm.
he probably told you the same origin story of the villains. We were going to first, it wasn't it wasn't going to be a collaborative project. It was initially just my persona, Lady Nix, and his Madison. But we were trying to get the vocals right, and I believe Madison was on version 4, but I had Lady Nix.
Let's just quickly give context to Madison and Lady Nix, because Professor Jacket works with. He's a Professor Jacket is a known person within this community, but you may not be in the community with. And he collaborates with a lot of different people, and he has a couple like Colton Lynch. He has as one of his personas that he writes songs in that persona. And he has like Madison, that's sort of a ditzy comedic sort of persona that he does with cheese fries and all that stuff. But Professor Jacket likes to collaborate a lot with other artists, and Toby slash Mellow Delight is one of them.
And what happened was we couldn't get our two personas the way we wanted, because I was on version 3.5, because if she was on another version, she sounded totally different. And I wasn't
Yeah,
about,
with Insuno. Yeah,
yeah, I wasn't about to change that. And
yeah,
I believe that Madison would sound different on another version too. So that didn't happen, and we were thinking about, okay, what can we do? So I told him about a an alter ego at the time, um, of Lady Nix, and Lady Nix, for backstory, a lot. In fact, all my personas are based on musicians and artists that I grew up with. Like Lady Nix is
Yeah.
like
Stevie Nicks. Yeah.
Joan Jett,
Yeah.
Pat Benatar,
Ah.
and uh, Leather Tuscadero from Happy Days, all mixed together. Very dark, cool, badass singer. And I had an alter ego for her at the time. Now she's her daughter, and it's almost a female Joker type archetype, and she's called the Gestress. And I said, well, maybe Madison could be Harleyson. And we said, oh,
Mm.
that's cool. And we said, what about if we formed a league of supervillains, and we all had songs, and we call it, the Villains Project. And we just ran with it. We recruited, and we created a 17 song album, and it was fantastic. And we have other artists that were with us from around the globe, and that's how we became Villains.
Yeah. It was 17 different artists that you've done, and this my understanding is the way these songs flow, from song to song is pretty unique as well.
Yeah, it's within the same universe, and sometimes there are Easter eggs within videos. And the way we set it up, there is like a story arc to it, and it's open to an expanded universe. And we do have another project coming, which I don't want to give away.
No, that's
But yeah,
fine. That's
on a
fine.
need to know basis at the moment. So,
Yeah.
but
We'll talk offline.
yes, yeah,
I wanna be in the know.
yes, yes, it's top secret. But we enjoyed it so much that we're still as a collective and supporting each
Yeah,
other, and it's like it's a brotherhood. So
I love
yeah,
that.
it's awesome. The guys are great. I've had so much fun collaborating, and we're just continuing it. So um, more villains to come.
Yeah. So we should have a Good Guys album too, and I could be part of the Good Guys, and our albums could battle out.
Yeah, it's the sky's the limit with this with the expanded universe, almost like Marvel, right?
Yeah, yeah, it could be. It could be the next big thing. And that's the thing too, like, do you guys have specific plans to, I guess, hope that that gets picked up by somebody, or is this just a super fun, creative thing that you guys do and you just enjoy the shit out of it and the camaraderie?
I would say that we just
Yeah.
enjoy the camaraderie and just collaborating and just helping and supporting one another. If it gets picked up, fine, that's cool, be great. But that wasn't the core, the drive for it is just like an idea that's really cool. And we love the characters that we created. We love each other's characters and how they interact and vibe with one another, and what Easter eggs can we put in each other's videos, and what do we ultimately want to say, and hope people like it. But we love it, so we hope the message goes out there, and it resonates.
Sorry, it might seem like magic. I've got these, like I'm going to be guiding in an airplane on an aircraft carrier. But I had some, I think my unit for audio is just from my microphone is completely blown out. We've been trying to get this working again. Sorry, Toby, about this.
No
But I've
problem.
had some serious technical issues. But yeah, if it seems like magic, I've suddenly have these headset on. That's what it is. It's not magic at all. It's just the magic of media, I guess. So you were explaining, you were going through your villain stuff, and we were talking about collaboration. We were saying how that's at the core of what I'm hoping this channel is about, is learning and connecting to other people. And when you connect to other people, that's you do learn things. And I suppose like people be learning a lot off of you.
I'm inspired by the community itself. So
Mm.
I'm having a ball. I'm having a blast. Just meeting people from around the world and just collaborating and listening to their music. It's a big inspiration for me. So I mean, very blessed to be part of this community. So it's definitely an inspiration. Definitely.
Yeah. We'll address the thing that I don't always want to constantly address, but it is very much at this stage of AI music and AI. It's just a thing that just comes up, and you just have to discuss the elephant in the room, which is people saying that. Well, now the term AI slop has just basically meant that everything that AI is slop. Initially it meant that there was a specific sloppy component of AI that was slop, and now people lump it all in together. My feeling on that is people wouldn't be so connected with the stuff they're putting out and other people's stuff they're putting out. It was just slop, and there was no soul to it or anything. You have a history of artwork. I suppose you would be an authority on the ability to make claims of whether it's all slop or not. What's your take on this?
I'm glad you asked because uh, going to in the realm of painting, or realm of anything that you're creating, I feel that you're always putting out, one, your heart, two, your soul, and most importantly is the intent behind it. You're charging this creation with part of you, I feel. And to say that AI music or AI art, for example, is just, soulless, but who is actually having that intent, the creation, the mindset of what you're willing, what you want to have as an end product, something that you want to say and then you're sculpting it in the way, in the manner, in the fashion that you want it to be. I could see if you push a button and then it comes out. But you have to have that intention. Like, what do you want to say? What do you want to express? How does it want that end product? How do you want it to make you feel? How do you want it to make others feel? And if it resonates with you, job done. If it resonates with somebody else and moves them, job done. But in the core of it is, how do you want to express yourself? How do you want it to make you feel? And that's it. So to say it's like soulless, that's gibber. That's, I don't think that's right, because you have to have that intent. You have to have that soul behind it for that creation. So it's infused with you. It's part of you.
Yeah.
When I create a painting, it's my energy behind it.
Yeah.
When I create anything, it's my energy behind it. It is part of me. And when I show it to somebody, how does it make you feel? It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel sad. It's the intent behind it. The colors, the same thing with the lyrics, same thing with melody. It's going to move you in some manner, shape, or form. So to say that, there's no soul behind it, I don't think that's correct.
Yeah. I guess the argument that they say is that it's all borrowed from everybody else. Like the way you make it is borrowed from everybody else. So it can't be your original creation. I think okay, well, Toby, none of your paintings can be your own because you buy your paints at the paint store that someone else made. And all the other artists before you use those exact same brands of paints and paintbrushes.
Exactly.
So none of your paintings are your own. Dismissed. You're not creative at all. All your art sucks.
So if I go to the museum and I'm inspired by a Monet painting and I want to make something similar, which, it'll be my influence inspired by that.
Yeah.
But I'm doing this. It's the same thing. You're inspired by something to cause that creation to do this, to create this product for you and to share with others. Because that's the thing. It's sharing with others. It's doing it to express yourself, to get your message out there, to get your heart and spirit out there. And it's charged with your energy. So I don't want to get too metaphysical because I can tend to be really.
You go that way. It's all about, this is your moment. People want to know about you. So go ahead. And somebody's going to connect to that.
I could try to lay it down in different layers, but in summary, it's infused with your intent. It's infused with your energy. And how does it make your heart feel? People will say, okay, well, AI music, it's just slop, or it's done with this, it's done with that. But when you play it for somebody, in the end, how does it make you feel? That's it. How does it make you feel when you hear it? I mean, if you go down the road of it was the logistics. Okay, it was made like this and it was done like that. Or they didn't write the lyrics. Blah, 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 blah. When you listen to it, does it move you? Barring that, does it move you?
Yeah.
If you put it against another song, but you can't tell the difference, or because of the technology is getting much, much, much better, can't really tell nowadays. But in the end, did it move you? Did the message move you? And
that's I totally agree, and I think that's measurable in a way too, because you've been part of listening parties before with these AI listening parties, like T-Myth does some. I do my lives every Monday here, Sunday in the U.S., right? And I'll explain what the listening parties are. Like, people will advertise out, like, I'm going to have a live on such and such a day. Submit your songs on this tool, and we'll randomly play your songs for everybody to listen to. I'll get 50 people show up at any one time. T-Myth probably has similar. I think the last one I did yesterday, live showing of people's songs. Like, we play people's music live through that AI music. I think I had 150 people totally in a 2-hour. Actually, ended up being a 3-hour session yesterday. And people will show up at the start of that 3-hour session. 10 minutes into it, they'll hear their own song. Now, logic dictates that when you take your own 5-year-old daughter to her dance recital, you struggle through that first 5 minutes of watching everybody else's kid dance. You thank God that your kid has 5 minutes later, they've danced. You take them out, and the rest of the 2-hour dance recital, you leave and you thank God that your kid was at the start. It doesn't work that way with AI music. People will show up, hear their own songs within the first 5-10 minutes, and still stay there for the entire 3 hours because there's good quality stuff that's moving people, and the interaction to other people that are making the songs are there. So you would, I guess that logically you'd say if everybody's enduring the stuff because it's so crap, they wouldn't be able to consistently show up week after week, live viewing after live viewing for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And the beauty of it is everybody's supporting one another. Everyone's cheering each other on. And as a community, it raises us up so much higher that, you can feel the positivity in the room.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what I think. I like some of us that are sort of pioneering this are trying to steer it towards a positive way, right? And there's some, like initially when I was doing my 5 featured artist thing, I was saying everybody has to go to everybody's channel and support them. And now that there's sort of a lot of people following along with that, you could really just support the people that you connect to. And if you support that person is still going to get a lot of support. But we have the time now. People like you, people like Dom, people like me, people like Teemith, people like Professor Jacket, all the people that are there to create an environment that's unique. Because I think the entertainment industry in general, as a whole, is cutthroat. I think a lot of it in the music in the music industry is predatory and only focused around money. If you look at that sort of thing, and you have to be a certain type of music that's not overly creative and not experimental in order to sort of make it and make a living off of it. And I think we have the ability to steer it in a positive way. And like you said, people supporting each other and understanding what it feels like, the good feeling you get from supporting another person and collaborating the way that you do with the villains and the way that sort of comes across. We have the ability now to form that, and other people, like the technology that comes has to basically fall in line with that because that's established.
Right. I totally agree. And it's going in a really, really beautiful direction. And it's just snowballing. It's just getting better and better, bigger and bigger. And I'm excited to see what's coming next.
Yeah, I'm super excited. There's a lot of stuff. Like, do you get a little bit overwhelmed seeing you're starting to be a bit known in the area, especially you have a couple successful projects on the go? Do you get a few people knocking on your door now?
I love to collaborate, and I'm excited about collaborating. It's so much fun because I usually do things on my own, but when I collaborate, it's that those creative juices flow. So I welcome it, but I have to sometimes I have to take a step back because I'll just want to do everything. I mean, not like as control, but I want to engage in so many different projects. I'll get burnout. It's like I need to. It's like we completed Villains, and then I said, okay, I'll take a short break. I didn't. I think that that break was like a day, and then I started the next video.
Yeah.
And then after that video, I said, okay, I need to take a break. No. And the next day, I started the next video.
Once you're feeling it.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just burning the candle really, really long. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just the excitement of doing it. It's all in all, it's a lot of fun and it's a passion. So when that passion is just fueled by excitement, you just never want to stop.
Yeah,
it's just so much fun. But you have to lay the ground rules. Like, okay, I need the rest. Oh yeah. Oh, did I eat?
You got to establish your boundaries too, I suppose. Yeah, exactly. Well, let me just ask, like, because your videos tell a really good story. I saw one of your submissions. I think I played one of your songs live either this week or the week before. The one on the train, one that was like Yeah, well, like I forget what it was, but the song itself, the characters were extremely like consistent, and the transitions were very professional because obviously you have a background and that sort of stuff. Mine, like I think you told me at one point you use Kling, and I think that was the reason I started using Kling for characters. But I struggle with Kling sometimes, and getting consistent stuff or getting exactly, especially the lip sync stuff. But I notice like you don't do a lot of lip sync; you just do storytelling. Um, Across the characters. Is that strategic? Because like to me, the lip sync is hit and miss.
I agree. I mean, I'll put the lip sync in for pivotal moments, for pivotal scenes where
Mm.
it I need it in order to show the emotion, and I'll put a close up on that character, like in Clockwork. One of the singers, he has a top
Clockwork,
hat.
that's the one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and he's singing, or one of the guys in the very beginning, he's sitting on a cog, but he's introducing everything. He's starting, so he needs to lip sync.
yeah.
And then we're about to go into another scene where it's pivotal because the train is about to go through the tunnel. We need to see a close up for him. I mean, it's necessary, and sometimes and I use Kling for lip sync, and I used to use Hedra, but I like Kling better.
Mm.
I'll bounce between. I mean, I'll try everything,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
mixed bag for me, but I usually gravitate towards Kling for lip sync.
If
But I
Kling
don't
gets it
do
right, it seems to
yeah.
be
Mhm.
more emotional. I've used Hedra,
Uh,
and if like you're like, dude, I just have to get the head lip sync right, and I can just use it for a brief moment. I'll use Hedra. Is that
yes, and another thing I forgot to add is that sometimes I'll use Runway Act 2 because
mm,
like for Kling when it misses, and I love Kling, shout out to Kling. um, but the emotional, like the facial expressions is not what I want. So with Runway 2, I can use my own facial expressions. I'll read out the lyrics and then express and sing the lyrics, and then my face will be a reference for the character, and
yes,
then it'll render it with my facial expressions for the character, and then I just need to sync it up with the audio. So sometimes I'll use that. I did that for the Gestress video because she needed to be really, really, dynamic and
I've fallen off of Runway. I've basically stopped because it basically so credit intensive. But
mm,
it's interesting you said that. Like I'm definitely going to be doing that now. And like I said at the start of the thing, I want to learn. I hope other people learn too. So I hope that people can sort of take that away as well.
yeah,
Like the facial emotional expression way to do it.
because when it's flat and then they're just there's talking, but
Mm,
I want the eye aspect and the anger and the cheeks.
yeah.
I'll have to use my own because if it comes out flat, it'll just ruin everything after that. So Runway Act 2, I like to experiment with. It depends.
Yeah.
But usually it's Kling.
Yeah. Well, let me just go through the workflow. There's other stuff I want to ask you as far as like storytelling and stuff, because I think
Mhm.
people struggle with the storytelling aspect of it when they're creating videos for the first time. And you're a good resource for sort of this. But so your workflow, like I'll tell you my workflow, and you can tell me yours. Like I'll create my images mostly in Leonardo AI because it does a really good job at rendering still images, and also you get a lot of credits, like a lot. I've only ever once exhausted my credits in Leonardo for one particular song. But then I will flip between if I just need a general. Leonardo's gotten a little bit better at non lip sync sort of 5 second sort of videos, so I'll experiment around with that. If it doesn't work, I'll go towards Kling. Kling's not really good at still images, I don't think. I think they're better with rendering video from existing still images, which I get from Leonardo. I use Hedra a very small bit if Kling is struggling a lot. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back to Runway Act 2 because I didn't understand that aspect of it where you could be emotional, because otherwise, like Kling, you sort of leave Kling to figure it out itself. You can prompt it and all that stuff, but you say be emotional, and it goes, okay, well, I'll figure out what you mean in that context.
Mhm. Yeah, with Runway Act 2, at least you could control how you want the characters to express themselves face muscle wise.
Hmm.
Cling, it's like a 50-50, you know. It's like you just hope that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
prompt
yeah,
it well,
yeah,
and then it'll come out the way you want it. Otherwise, oh, you just lost more credits, which happened to me.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
you know the credits.
yeah. Kling's actually better at credits now than they used to be. I think. I go through. I think I don't think I've exhausted my Kling credits for a while, which I used to like almost instantly.
Yeah, yeah. Kling's gotten much better with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy it. For still images, I like to use Midjourney,
Hmm.
and I like so, this is like pairing with my art side because usually paint with bold colors. So visually, video wise, I would love and want to see bold colors. So with Midjourney, it's personalized with me because they have a personalization. It becomes individualized for you. There's a system where you can just choose, like if you like the left image, click this. If you like the right image, click that. And I'll just be, and
Hmm.
then after a while, the system learns what you like, so that your prompt, when you prompt it in, it becomes your style.
Yeah.
Well, my style is vibrant color, shadows, low angles, lens flares, like the
Yeah.
2J
Yeah.
Zack Snyder type of thing. I just love that, and like mist and fog and just all the different elements. I just love 5 elements like fire, earth, water. I mean, I love it. So I'll usually go to Midjourney for that, and what else? Well, Kling for image to video, Kling for lip sync. Um, what else? What else would be my
Yeah.
workflow? Um,
Well, that's a good overview anyway, because it's good to know someone that's like a professional like you, like what their tools are. A lot of people, I guess, are established and they know what their tools are. They don't want to change too much, but maybe some people coming into it, like a lot of people are afraid to move into the video creating aspect of it. And there's a few different reasons for that. One, because they want to pump out more songs. They feel like the songs tell the full story. I think in some cases that's probably the truth, but I think sometimes you really want to have visuals to, like you can really get your story across or your point across in a particular way with the visuals. And I think sometimes people should experiment around with that. Um, you you are a teacher, right? You mentioned that you've always used tech to sort of teach things. So I think this question would be particularly good to ask you because you understand how to teach and how sort of people sort of learn. Like, how would you? What are some tips or what's some things you can tell people who are learning to use visuals for the first time in storytelling? Because just keeping in mind that a lot of people are doing all of this for the first time, are very new at this. Like when you're talking about there about going into Midjourney and explaining your style, some people don't know what their style is, right? And I don't know how important it is to establish your style straight up because that style might change. But what are some, like if people are getting started in the storytelling aspect of it outside of the songs, what are some things you can say?
I think a baby step would be, if you're trying to establish your own style, is to create what's called a mood board.
Hmm.
Is There's like free mood boards online that you could use, or even like you can open up a document and drag pictures in from the internet that you like, that could be related to the song. Could be a beautiful sunrise or sunset, an ocean, and then after a while, you may see a pattern of what you're selecting is forming your own style, and that could be the first step of just choosing things that you like related to your song. That's the first step, and then from there, you build upon it. So that the mood board is the first step. Um,
So even
okay,
before you get started, just to figure out what your
choose
brain likes, mood board.
exactly what colors you like, um, uh, what imagery comes to mind. Just start pulling it out.
So
And
find
then
out about yourself first.
right,
Okay.
exactly. Because what you like, is what you like.
Mm-hmm.
um, it should be an intuitive process. You shouldn't really. I mean, you can think about it. It's like, okay, I want to find some images related to this, to my lyrics, but it should be more instinctual.
Mm.
Um, Painting wise, I do what's called intuitive abstracts. Is that I don't really know what I'm going to be painting until actually it's painted. I just set the colors out. I have that sort of mood. I'll put on music, usually instrumental, and I'll just start painting, and whatever comes out, comes out. I say it's the same thing with this. Do your mood board. You start, oh, if you don't have a Pinterest account, get a Pinterest account,
Really?
because it does help, because it has mood boards on there, and it has inspirational photos where you can just create your own mood board through Pinterest. You just click on things, and you have an automatic mood board there. You just start collecting things, which I actually did for the Clockwork video for steampunk, because I love steampunk.
Yeah.
And I wanted outfits and different gears and ideas for cities and cityscape and trains. And I said, okay, I like that. I don't like that. So I started collecting it and pinning it. That's from Pinterest. You start pinning it and it becomes your board. And then you start seeing patterns and overall colors and everything. And then things start to form. So that's like your first layer. And then you just take it from there. So without it getting even more complicated, start picking things you like. Imagery.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, starting off on a sort of base thing, because like you'd hate to go 6-12 months into it and go, man, I've just been randomly doing shit, like, and nothing's connecting to me or anybody else. I guess to take it back to the start, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go mood board, because I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know. I couldn't articulate what I like. Like, if you asked me right now, I couldn't like you did. You said very bright colors and your face sort of stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I know my mood is like sarcasm and tongue in cheek, but I don't know visually. I couldn't tell you visually word for word what I like. So I think that's good for me to go back and do that.
Yeah, sometimes, like they say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So
Yeah.
start pulling out like images. It could be just random images, and then even these random images. Say for instance, you do have the lyrics to the song, but you want to create the video for it, so you start pulling out images. But then you can work another way. So you don't have the lyrics, and you start looking at images in order to give you ideas for the lyrics.
Yeah.
So you can work that way too.
Yeah. I think people should take note, because I'm hoping that the people that watch these things feel like you're a bit of a student. I think we should all be a bit of a student right now, because there's a new tech coming out. And I think people that have been doing it for 3 or 4 or 5 months or even 12 months go, I have my method, I'm not going to change that. I think, there's people that go to art school for 4 or 8 years or whatever. You're constantly sort of learning. So being 6-12 months into it, I don't think it's too late to take on board someone that's been around, that has good methods and has really good outputs for products. Like the songs are really good, and they work with the videos and the storytelling. The transitions in the videos are really good. I think it's a good idea to take people like Tobe on board and say, like, not be stuck in what you do. And I know it's hard to pivot because you work so hard to get to where you are, but I think just being influenced, like, I don't think it would be bad. Like, for me, it's really good timing for you to say that, because I'm about to do a complete rebrand on my website. And my struggle has been, like, I don't know what I want. Like, I see all these, like, I see plumbers and electricians have these vibrant websites, and you go, they can't be really good at doing websites and design and visuals and stuff if their skill set is plumbing and being an electrician. So they must have some idea from somewhere. They must know what they like at some level.
Mm-hmm.
So once you start creating, I won't go too much into it, but that was pretty heavy. I think if people would have any one takeaway and that's it, that'd be fantastic. But how do you do storytelling? How do you, like you mentioned, like you got to a point where, is there a train going through?
No.
That might maybe on my end.
Oh. I
don't know. It sounds like rain or something like that. I don't know.
This is my train from the video.
Is it? Sorry, yeah. This is your storytelling. When
when life imitates art. I was like, uh, yeah. So like, I was interested. Like, you had me at the point where you had your characters. What you said, you had to lip sync at certain points to really bring you into the story. Like, how do you make those decisions? Like, those are pivotal moments that really needs to be done.
I would listen to the song on repeat for hours, days. It's in my head. And then when it's in my head, it's an earworm. And then when it's that, then I just see images. Blank screen. I see what's on this screen in my mind, and I just write it down. When I'm doing the storytelling, I always will create a shot list of exactly from point one to all the way to the end of the video. It looks like this. This is for my new video. I don't want to show too much, but brand new one. But I create a shot list of what I want to see, and it will change, but it just gives me a skeletal framework of how it's going to be. And I may deviate from this completely, but the skeletal framework is there. It just gives me some sort of a baseline to work with as I'm what I want to say, what I want to show. I have the end in mind because the song and the lyrics will dictate the image. And the punch at the end should speak volumes, and the hook in the beginning should just bring you in immediately. And I'm a big advocate of like hooking you in really quick, and then we're gone.
Yeah, I've got that advice from a couple solid creators in the start that have been formally trained that said, you know, you need to hook them in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's the same thing with filmmaking too, and screenwriting. That within the first for screenwriting is the first 10 pages, first 7 to 10 pages, you got to hook them in immediately, and otherwise you just lose attention. So it carries, you know, it carries forth to other disciplines. But it's important, something, you know, a strong image, something vibrant, someone shouting, and it's just something really happening, capturing them in the midst of the action. You're pulled in the midst of the action as soon as the song starts, as soon as the visuals start. And I feel it works well.
Yeah. So you're extremely organized. I'll ask one more question that we can sort of, you know, fade out into like, I like you to promote any sort of stuff you got coming out too. But so you're extremely organized. You mentioned that, like, I want to get this out of the way. Like, people are like, I'm super busy. You mentioned right from the start that you have no time. You have enough time to read 2 pages of books. Your books are mostly audio books. You basically go to Comic-Cons and all that stuff. You're time pressed, right? Yet you're putting out regular content. How long does it take you to put together, like, start to finish, a song with a video in it?
The song will take, it depends on the song. The song itself, from lyrics to actual finished product of the song, I don't know, at least 2 weeks if I'm because I'm very picky.
Yeah.
And then the video, weeks. I would say close to, like, Clockwork took me a month.
Wow.
I mean, not like straight 8 hours, but in between stuff I'm doing, that. And then tweaking, and then polishing, and then do I like this? And then going back to a reshoot. It's like, I don't like this in the beginning. I think I could do better with this shot. Swap it out, re-lip sync. Okay, I don't like how she's saying this or how he's saying that in this line. And then reshoot the lip sync. So finished product with everything, at least a month and a half.
Yeah. I see that. Like, some of my stuff's not even done, and I don't even have your skill set, you know, and I definitely don't have the output quality that you have. So 2-3 months, that would check out.
I mean, when I first started, I would have an album cover, which I would create, and then I had the song out. But then I discovered visualizers. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let me try to do that. Okay, visualizer. Okay, very cool. And then, okay, visualizer with lyrics, did that. And then full-fledged videos. So I think I run the gambit with all the different types of layers of different things. But I mean, I want to do a different type of visualizer too, because I like to experiment with different types of visualizers. Because there's a lot of creators have just some awesome visualizers. It's
Yeah,
just so
check out
cool.
Phoenix's. Phoenix is a pretty good one. It's easy
It's
to
great.
use. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very great. And I just want to just run the gambit of just experimenting. I mean, like I'm always a student, and I always want to learn new things, and I always want to just get my hands and just try different things, so I could say, "Oh, I would like to adopt this in my tool set," or "Oh, I would like to." Not only do I want to learn it for myself, but being like a teacher, I want to share it with somebody else who may need a tip. It's like, "Oh, do you have something for this?" Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So learning it for me is sharing it with others, because I feel I'm a natural teacher, and I just want to just share.
Yeah.
But it's the experimenting part that's the best part. It's fun.
Yeah.
And
And that experimenting part can feel like overwhelm, right? But you need to push through. So there's nothing wrong with feeling overwhelmed when you don't get it and pushing through. That's part of the learning process. And it's good. It feels good when you have an output that's good after you're overwhelmed.
I went to being like the super techie geek nerd that I am. I guess there's levels of geek nerdness.
so sorry, I didn't ask you. So what on the 1 to 10? Where are you?
Oh, right. Well, okay. 10 being what?
10 being
Like
neck beard, and you dress up to go to Comic-Con.
Oh, I would probably say I'm I don't know, I toggle between like a 5 and a 5 and a 6. I'm
5
like
and a
somewhere
6. Okay, respectable.
balance, kind of like yeah.
Respectable. Not non-judgy, but respectable. You're more than average.
I'd be hard pressed to like dress like a Mario Kart and just
but not it's hard pressed, but the chance isn't zero. It's more than zero.
Yeah, it's more than zero. But where was I going with this?
Yes.
I wanted to experiment on trying to find tech that could bring a persona / avatar to like a hologram, that type of thing, because I've seen it. It could be super pricey. I've seen like the Japanese version of Hatsune Miku, just a hologram on stage, and I'm sure there's a whole unit of people doing that. But I tried to find something that maybe it could be affordable to do something like that. There is a thing called Gatebox in Japan, where you have like a cylinder, but then there's a hologramic avatar in it. And I did actually have a conversation meeting with a company that did have a tube, a holographic, with a tube that was about 6 feet tall with a hologram in it. But I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, can we bring our own avatars and put them in personas in there? But it was more business client based and their own avatars that will speak that way. So maybe I gave them an idea for entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, this is the way I think, based on questions like around Suno and different sort of areas. This is what everybody's asking. How do you get AI music on stage with an audience? And the first thing people are always thinking about holograms and all that. Oh, sorry, Ricard. Let me just get you to come back a little bit. Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah. So, sorry, he's just about 10 minutes early. Yeah. So that's always the question. Obviously, people think, firstly the holograms and stuff. Right. I think AI music is initially going to be live performed by, they have this girl group band in Japan. They have like a pool of like 40 members or whatever, and only like 5 to 10 will perform at any one time, but they rotate through and they perform all over the place. And what you could do is you can get AI music, whatever, feed it onto them, and they could be performing all over the place. I think big data is going to come into play too, like to see how basically the people that book the tickets are going to book it through Ticket Tech or whatever, which you book through your Google account or Facebook account, which knows all the information about you and can gather information about what you like and what you don't like, and you can use AI to real time know that audience as a whole, how they're going to respond.
Wow.
and very much trained for that performance, right? And I think holograms, like you said, they're going to come into the future. Like you could just basically, those holograms can in real time respond to how the audience is responding, and they're picking up in real time how they're responding. So you could feed into that hologram, react this way, put a smile on that way, do this particular dance, don't do that
Right.
particular, they're not liking it.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. Let me get your final thoughts, because I always like to get you to promote anything or talk about yourself or something that people can be interested in, that a future project that you're doing or something like that.
Well, currently I'm working on, well, with the Villains project, my persona Gestress
Mm.
and her song Gate Crasher. I'm currently working on the sequel, the next song for that. So that's coming out in a couple of weeks because I'm still working, I'm still cranking it out. But that's currently where I'm at now. I've kind of slowed down in creating and focused more currently on just the creating a song, but not releasing the visualizer. Usually, like what I'll do is I'll release the song first as a visualizer, and then weeks later I'll create the video for
That's
it.
a great idea. Yeah.
But now what I'm doing is I'm keeping it as a surprise. Like I did it for Clockwork in RZR. I didn't release the song at all. It was a total surprise. When the video came out, that was the song.
Yeah.
So, which took me, a long time to do, and I couldn't focus on anything else. So the amount of music that I've been creating has slowed down a great deal because I'm just focusing on one song at a time and one video at a time, and just putting everything into that one thing. And then after that, then I go into the next thing. So with Gestress, I'm doing the next song is called Kill Switch. And I've upped the ante as far as one, her personality, and two, is her origin story. So I'm hoping everybody likes it and be out in a couple of weeks. So I'm like putting a deadline on myself.
Nice. All right, cool. Toby, thanks for coming on. Mellow Delight, that's been, oh, dude, like I should have had you on ages ago, but huge supporter in the community, huge supporter of mine, always consistently there. We've had talks in the background. There's other stuff we didn't even topic the way we sort of tried to work together in the past, but thanks for coming on. I appreciate that. Now that we've had this and we've had a full on chat, I know I'm going to be talking to you a lot more. So thanks for coming on.